What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined by my dad, Sean, and today at Reactions to the Classics, it is time for another top 10 list. This time, doing Lovin Spoonful top 10, man. And this comes courtesy of our longtime friend of the channel, and I know huge Lovin Spoonful fan, Evan David, who just did a marvelous write-up on his list here.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, Trey, all our patrons who send in lists usually send in really good write-ups, but I have never done the research and not had to change anything or add anything. This is all Evan David. It's all Evan David the whole way through. Man. Just a wonderful list. And his first foray into the patron territory, if you'd like to support us in any way, check out our Patreon link below. And before we dive into some information on them, just a quick little bit of info. The music actually will not be in this video. Check out the link below if you want to watch along with us. If you just want to know what we think, just hang around and we'll show you. And I only know a couple of these songs.
Yeah, I think same here. I maybe know two of them.
Yeah, that's what I think I know too.
And who knows, maybe we'll know more as we get into it. But you know, as the the songs of the day, it's a pretty short and sweet a list to the point, man.
Very compact.
But we got some background because I didn't know anything about the group. So from Evan David's write-up, man, he says rock and roll legend has it that the two founder members of Lovin Spoonful, folk musicians John Sebastian, who's on lead vocals, auto harp, guitar, songwriter, and then we have Zal Yanofsky, say that 10 times fast.
No, I'll let you do it.
On lead guitar. First met at mutual friend Cass Elliott's apartment in Greenwich Village, New York in 1964, after she'd invited them both to view the Beatles performing on...
It all comes back to the Beatles, brother.
On Ed Sullivan. After very briefly joining Elliott and her future Mamas and the Papas bandmate Denny Doherty in a group called the Mugwumps, John and Zal continued playing together and were soon joined by bassist Steve Boone and drummer Joe Butler, both of whom had long been a part of the rock scene in Long Island, New York, to form what became the Lovin Spoonful, taking their name from the lyrics of a song by bluesman Mississippi John Hurd.
I always wondered that.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Like, what do we got? So
the Spoonful eventually acquired a long-term residency at the famous Night Owl Cafe in Greenwich Village. There's a lot of great rock stars hanging around there. And after initially being turned down by just about every record company in New York and themselves turning down the chance to work with an admiring Phil Spector, because as John Sebastian himself later put it, we were anxious that people not think we were a puppet group in any way. They finally signed to Kama Sutra Records in 1965. Their first single, Do You Believe in Magic, would reach number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts and began a remarkable run of U.S. chart success for the Lovin Spoonful, which will see their next 6 singles all achieve Billboard Top 10 status.
Big time, man.
They'd eventually record a total of 7 studio albums, including 2 film soundtracks, and at one point could even have been the stars of the TV show that would eventually become The Monkees, if not for a dispute with the show's producers over the publishing rights. I guess I don't know that story, but I'm guessing, they were writing this stuff for the Monkees. The Lovin Spoonful were writing their own stuff and probably said, you know what, you're not going to have that stuff.
No, man, that's very interesting. And they're also credited as a key influence on the early musical direction of the Grateful Dead, a top 10 list up there.
That's right.
While both John Lennon and Paul McCartney expressed admiration for the Spoonful to boot, as did the Kinks' Dave Davies. Zal would unfortunately leave the band in '67 in the aftermath of a drugs bust and was replaced by Jerry Yester, while John Sebastian also quit a year later, in his case to pursue a successful solo career, which would itself include some memorable highlights, such as appearing at Woodstock and composing and recording the theme song to Welcome Back, Kotter.
Oh, so I know him. We actually did him on a Wednesday live stream, the video of him singing that song.
Big time, man. So that left Butler, Boone, and Yester to record one final album as Lovin Spoonful before calling it quits in '69, and they made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2000.
And like all these older groups, there were some different incarnations later on, but never anything that brought them all back together. Evan David says, I myself first discovered the Lovin Spoonful when I heard their only U.S. #1 hit, Summer in the City, being used in an episode of also legendary British sitcom Only Fools and Horses called Miami Twice in the early to mid-90s, and immediately fell into full-blown, all-consuming musical love with them after eventually tracking down a decent compilation cassette of the band's greatest hits, because remember, we couldn't just queue up Spotify back then. I was utterly enraptured with the inventive music, eclectic, sharp yet gentle lyrical wit, and above all, the sheer effervescent warmth and joy of their self-dubbed good time music, to the extent I firmly regard them this day as the most criminally underrated band of the entire 60s if not of all time. He says, here's my Lovin Spoonful Top 10, wherein I try to include a fun mix of their biggest hits, as well as some of their lesser known but still groovy personal favorites of mine. Honestly, I could have made a pretty darn far out top 20. So remember, he's not necessarily saying these are their best 10. He's just saying he tried to put together a nice mix for us that really don't know.
Yeah, so man, great little quick facts there. Great write-up. And yeah, man, we're gonna get started then. Well, without further ado, let's go. Number 10 here, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting it off with Daydream, the title track of their second album. This mellow, peaceful tune is not necessarily one of Evan David's personal favorites, although he still really digs it, but its status is one of the Spoonful's most fondly remembered and influential tunes, which reached number 2 in both the US and the UK charts in '66, and was in fact the Spoonful's biggest hit, full stop, and the latter meant that I finally decided it was too significant not to include it here. Yet again, just pointing back to, I didn't know they had this much chart success.
I didn't either. Indeed, Daydream's been heralded by no less an authority than Sir Paul McCartney himself as influence in his Revolver tune, Good Day Sunshine, which I really like, and Trey, you're a little lukewarm on, while also being included in John Lennon's own personal jukebox. The writing of the song itself took place while the Spoonful were on a tour of the southern U.S. with the Supremes in 1965, another Top 10 wasted stuff. It was heavily influenced by the Motown group's sound in turn. Well, let's check out Daydream. We're going to have the lyrics up as always. And once again, thank you, Evan David.
Yes, sir. All right, starting it off, Daydream up in here. I wasn't familiar with this tune, even though it is such a monster hit.
I wasn't either. I thought I was at first, but it just has that sound that you seem to be familiar with.
No, definitely. And I mean, I think just right off the bat, the melody and almost kind of light, carefree nature of the track just kind of stands out to you right away.
Yeah, and I think that's probably going to be a theme on here from the other stuff I know. There's, I don't think the lyricism right now is going to be off the charts because it's 1966. It's really just about, most songs really are just about wanting to get the girl or being in love with the girl. That's what it's about. He's daydreaming about being with her and blowing off his day, and he might pay for it later, but he doesn't care. But it starts off with the whistle, ends with the whistle. Trey, that's always pressure to recreate in the live performance.
The whistle, man, coming through.
And I'm with you. The melody was great. Just a very good offering right out of the gate.
No, and man, John Sebastian sounds like somebody to me. I just can't quite place it.
For me, he sounds like the guy that sang the Welcome Back Kotter. I can hear it now right away. Welcome back. But that was a decade later.
He's got a unique voice, man.
He does.
That kind of stands in the midst here as our heavy hitting, mid 60s, so much competition, which stands that this went number 2, even more impressive, man. So cool little beat there, and I like just kind of I think that's a good introduction to this band, to this list, and I mean starting off the record of the same name. And we're gonna actually stay with Daydream here, going to You Didn't Have to Be So Nice here, coming in at number 9.
Yeah, and Evan David says, another single taken from Daydream. This sweet little tune about the serendipitous joy of meeting a lover who is far kinder to the singer than she ever really needs to be. Reached 10 in the U.S., features Sebastian's signature instrument, the auto harp. At its best, the Spoonful's music can evoke the sonic equivalent of getting a warm hug from your best friend, as far as I'm concerned. This tune is one of the best examples of that feeling for me, and as such stands out even amongst the Spoonful song catalog that is already chock full of their trademark good time music. You can see why I didn't have to add anything.
Dude, no.
David's excellent descriptions.
I love it, man.
Let's get that hug, boys and girls.
All right, You Didn't Have to Be So Nice coming in at number 9 here, and man, you could just feel that good time music, those good vibes again right away.
Yeah, lyrically again, that'll be a quick breakdown. Basically, just he would have liked her anyway. She didn't have to be so nice if he just looked once or twice and gone upon your quiet way. So he's pursuing her, wants her, all that good stuff. Is more about obviously song construction, the melody, the composition. It was interesting though. One thing I didn't like, and it's not their fault, is the way it was mixed.
When it had the old school mixing in it.
Yeah, where his voice is over here and the music's over here, and the music was a little bit too loud, but then when the harmonies came in, they were over here, and his lead vocal got turned up a little bit. So the mixing on it could have been a little better, but hey, it was released in 65. The album came out in 66, but really did enjoy that one.
Well, my favorite part was, I think, the tail end where you had the harmony going over, sweet, where, both kind of saying at the same time, when we've had a few more days, I wonder if I'll get to say, and just that whole concept, man. This guy's like, hey, he she didn't even have to be nice. He would have loved her
Yeah,
in
that's
any
exactly
case,
right,
man.
man.
You could tell this man's really like struck with the love bug, so to speak, man. And as Evan David noted, the little auto harp action, man. Just again, very warm, kind of warm textures going in on this one. So from my estimation, man, we're up to a good little start on this list. And now we're gonna go to Did You Ever Have to Make Up Your Mind, coming in at number 8 on here. Another number 2 U.S. chart single, this time with the tune taken from the Spoonful's first album, Do You Believe in Magic? This procrastinator's anthem shows the same trademark sense of gentle warmth as the previous 2 on my list, but also has an added streak of humor that just sets it above either of its predecessors for me, as befitting its roots in John Sebastian's own youthful experience of falling in love with 2 twin sisters at summer camp. For as Sebastian himself puts it, quote, when you have romances with sisters, you can really get yourself into trouble because they're talking to each other and telling on you, which you don't realize when you're an adolescent. I think it was my first experience of being used.
Trey, the old man may have some experience in this area with sisters, but I'll leave that for another time, boys and girls.
All right, did you ever have to make up your mind? Man, I'm with Evan David on this one, man. I liked it more than the previous 2 just because some of these one-liners in here were pretty funny. Yeah,
and I'm going to give them credit. The song's a minute 59, Trey. They get in, I think, 2 verses, 4 choruses, and a little instrumental break.
Yeah, they
packed and, I mean, it doesn't seem like, they're going 100 miles an hour. And some of this I related to. There's sisters that were 2 years apart when I was in high school, and I'll just leave it there. But, it didn't exactly work out.
This could have been your theme song, man.
At the end, man. I'll leave them nameless because you never know in the world of the internet if they check this out. I want to bring back bad memories.
No, man, but for the song itself, I enjoyed it. I thought this was the first where we really saw Zal, kind of be able to put in a little bit of work with that instrumental, almost, just mini little guitar solo in there again. Had just an overall, it is mid-60s, a groovy type of sound, and it's just it sounded unique, and with the funny lines here or there, it didn't take itself too seriously, which I liked as well. But still, for 65, I don't know if this would have been a little not scandalous,
risque,
but risque.
Yeah. I mean, verse 2, sometimes you really dig a girl the moment you kiss her, and then you get distracted by her older sister. When in walks her father and takes you a line and says, better go home, son, and make up your mind. I don't know too many dads that'd be like, oh, that's cool, man. Better decide which one you want.
And we went to that deeper voice there.
Yeah, exactly. So, that was a cool one.
All right, and now we're going to move to number 7, Darling, Be Home Soon, taken from their 67 release soundtrack album to the 1966 film You're a Big Boy Now. This charming tune went to number 15 in the US, 44 in the UK, and Sebastian affectionately performs in the sympathetic persona of someone who has to stay home while their lover's on the road, expertly channeling the soft longing and wistful frustration that the situation brings.
Yeah, we were going to check out a live performance of this, but it was blocked in our country. But don't worry, there is a live performance of The Spoonful coming up in a little bit.
All right, Darling, Be Home Soon. Definitely my favorite tune up to this point, man. I thought this had a lot going for it.
Yeah, I did too. And you mentioned it during the song. A much more mature offering, a lot more complex compositionally as well, and it's in a movie, and I think that might have something to do with it. Francis Ford Coppola was the man who made the movie, and I think that may have something to do with it as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
Especially, I thought it did a good job ramping up to that orchestral section. Kind of in the middle, it had a little break, and then boom, we added a little bit of those warm, horn sounds as well. Just made for a pleasant listen, and I thought that Sebastian was quite yearning in his vocal delivery, man. And I find that interesting because he took the perspective of the one kind of waiting at home, whereas his own life experience being a musician would have had him be in the opposite.
Very good point. Yeah,
Be
exactly.
the one on the road. So I thought that was quite impactful as well. Just that yearning, my darling, be home soon. Cool little cadence that he was going forth. And again, I think just through these first few tracks, we're seeing just kind of their probably songwriting height is to be able to really write like, oh man, I'm yearning for that love to keep on keeping on type of deal. So next up, man, we're already halfway through this list as we go now to Pow, number 6 here.
Yeah, and Evan David says, speaking of zany, this next tune sums up the Lovin Spoonful's far-out sense of humor better than any other for me, and like the previous tune, was also taken from Spoonful's soundtrack album to a 1966 movie. In this case, What's Up, Tiger Lily, a spoof spy film whose visuals came from an obscure Japanese adventure movie, which was re-released in the West with dubbed comedic dialogue written by a young Woody Allen. Evan David knows a lot of interesting little facts, so let's check this one out.
All right, Powell bringing it in a total kind of left turn from sonically than anything we've heard at this point. Obviously, that country flavor was laid on thick, which
it really was.
I'm not the biggest fan of, but I like the lyricism here.
You stole what I was going to say, because the lyricism is very clever, and John's firing off lines like he's the godfather of rap, and and I think it fits probably with what the movie is. Evan David saying it's a zany movie. I like the way he, the lyricism, he fired him off. But they managed to get an instrumental break in every song, even though
they do, man.
So that's an art. That's all the positive. Negative is, I love you to death, Evan David. I can't stand this song, but maybe it would grow on me.
No, I think the whole thing is it was for the movie.
Yeah, it probably fits in the context.
The zaniness of it, man. But some of these one-line,
they are great. Yeah, it's written. Yeah,
I thought that it was funny.
Verse 3.
That's the one I was going to key in on. All this stuff's happening to this poor dude, food all over him, this and that, and he finally got so fed up he was just going to hop and blow his head off. But with the gun inside the cash box at the store, then I thought I'd grab a fistful just in case I weren't successful. But instead, I got my tie caught in the drawer. So anything that you think could go wrong for this poor dude in this song, it really does.
It does, yeah.
So no, man, definitely showing kind of that versatility.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That is the real positive there.
Even if it's not my thing, man, I still respect when artists do that. And now we're going to go to number 5. We have Rain on the Roof.
Yeah, Evan David says, this simple, blissful tune was taken from their 4th studio album, namely 1966 Home of the Lovin Spoonful, and was yet another U.S. top 10 hit single, reaching number 10. It's written shortly after John Sebastian bought an Irish harp during his stay in Dublin in '66, where the Spoonful had been booked to play at the 21st birthday party of Guinness heir Tara Brown, who would later feature in the Beatles' era-defining Day in the Life tune following his untimely death in a car crash. The evocative combination of said Irish harp with, I assume, Zanovsky's 12-string guitar ultimately means that few other Spoonful tunes can match this one for the sheer soothing nature of its general romantic, in both senses of the word, atmosphere. What a write-up, Evan David.
Let's go. All right, Rain on the Roof, man. Bringing just a very gentle sounding tune up in here.
Yeah, that Irish harp, I guess I obviously would have never known what that was if Evan David didn't tell me. Very interesting sound in there, and interesting to throw in on a song that's so chilled out. But I mean, it does work because it makes you go, what the heck is that?
Yeah, and just that whole concept, man. I like the fact that you and me underneath a roof of tin, pretty comfy feeling, how the rain ain't leaking in. We can sit and dry just as long as it can pour, because the way it makes you look makes me hope it rains some more. I thought that was pretty clever lyricism. Like, hey man, let's keep the rain going, because it means I can stay in there longer with you.
You and me and rain on the roof, caught up in a summer shower, drawing while it soaks the flowers. Maybe we'll be caught for hours, waiting out the sun. So yeah, just a nice little dreamy song.
No, definitely, and kind of harkens back to some of the earlier tunes on our list with that just gentle, easy listening nature to it, man. That was pretty on the ears, to be sure, man. Kind of fit its name as well, and I think with the harp going with Zal, whatever he was playing as well, I thought that was pretty tight, man. And now we're gonna keep on going. We're up to number 4 now. We have Younger Generation coming in, taken from John Sebastian's last album with the Spoonful, 1967's Everything Playing. This truly groovy tune would later become the centerpiece of Sebastian's solo appearance at Woodstock. And with good reason. Indeed, it is a brilliantly imaginative tune which aptly captures the wild psychedelic hopes and fears that the singer has regarding his ability to be a good father to his soon-to-be-born son, ending with a bittersweet coda wherein he ponders whether or not you can ever truly live up to your own dreams for the future, let alone those of your children. Despite not being a parent myself, I've always really adored and even identified with this tune. I'm truly looking forward to finding out what my father-son dynamic duo of RTTC will make a bid in turn. Ooh, let's go, man.
Pressure.
All right, younger generation. I'll let you take this one at the start, Dad.
Yeah, I think he has a great subject matter there, because when you do first become a father, you're thinking about that concept. It's like, okay, you want to. He wants to remember all the stuff he didn't like when he was growing up. He doesn't want to be that guy, and I didn't have a great father. It's just the way it is. And so I definitely knew what I didn't want to be, but you wonder if you're up to the task. And he's like, I got to not get on this kid, or, be square, as he mentions in total 60s vernacular. I thought the choruses were interesting. Like, hey, Pop, can I go ride my Zoom? It goes 200 miles an hour, suspended on balloons. It's just this kid playing. But then he goes, and can I put a drop of this new stuff on my tongue? So a little LSD, and imagine frothing dragons where you sit and wreck your lungs. Dad's either smoking cigarettes or marijuana, and I must be permissive, understanding of the younger generation, the Dad's saying. And then the last chorus, Trey, was quite interesting.
No, man, really kind of pushing into those almost psychedelic-like themes. Hey, Pop, my girlfriend's only 3. She's got her own video phone, which for 67, man, that's impressive.
Yeah, she's only 3.
And she's taken LSD, and now that we're best friends, she wants to give some to me. What's the matter, Daddy? How come you're turning green? And then we kind of get to the climax of the whole song. Can it be that you can't live up to your dreams?
Because he knows he's got to drop the hammer here. That's not okay.
Yeah, so, man.
Really cool. Really good song.
Yeah, I love just the whole concept of making a song around this idea, and just musically, again, that acoustic guitar going in, very pleasant, and just a laid back and tempo, which I think kind of let you hone in on the words and just kind of let the storytelling unfold, man. So this might be my favorite tune up to this point, actually, man. And we're gonna stay with this record now and go to number 3 on the list. We have Boredom. Another everything playing tune. This song belies its rather unpromising title to create a wonderfully stark yet ultimately relaxing atmosphere, even as the singer laments being stuck overnight in a bleak motel in a small town with no youth culture hangouts to speak of and nothing to do in general. Complaints that perhaps resonate even more strongly in some ways in a post-lockdown 2020s world than they did in a pre-digital 60s where this song was written.
On the surface, this is a little more than a simple yet evocative tune about the drawbacks of life on the road, but I would strongly argue that much is often the case with another one of my all-time favorite bands, the Ramones. Such apparent simplicity can be very deceiving indeed when it comes to the overall quality of the songwriting involved. After all, this particular tune definitely features some of Sebastian's most cunningly constructed lyrics of his entire illustrious songwriting career, with my personal favorite line, not just of the Spoonful songs, but of pretty much any song in general, being as followed. Everybody ready? So here we are together, machines and me. I feel about as local as a fish in a tree. Huh.
I like that, man.
I like that too. And what a great write-up once again.
Ooh. All right, in the top 3, Boredom, bringing it, kind of harkening back a little bit to Pow with a little bit of that country influence, but obviously not laying it as thick.
No, I liked it much more. Just it kind of instrumental is what it should have been for a song with this lyrical content and name. It's very few lyrics compared to, still a decent amount of lyrics, but compared to a lot of the other songs. Just paints the picture of any of us that have lived in a small town before, and I have, of just the boredom that there is, man. You got to create your own stuff. Just every day is pretty boring, and he drops little lines painting that picture quite nicely, which Sebastian's really good at doing.
Oh, yeah, and I thought Zal, again, killed it on, it almost sounded like a slide guitar
at
points.
It did.
I thought that was, brought, again, a little unique texture to the sound here, and as Evan David mentioned, man, definitely fits kind of the 2020s world, man, with kind of the pandemic and everything, just people, the lyrics reflecting, man, I'm all alone. I can't just sit and watch my telephone. Well, nowadays we kind of can,
Harkens back to the old days. Yeah, exactly.
And then going, I think that line that Evan David highlighted as well. So here we are together, machines and me. I feel about as local as a fish in a tree. Great saying right there.
Yeah.
Just passing the pumps, the highway signs, just really building that imagery of just kind of being out in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do, man. man. Very aptly titled. And now we're going to number 2. Only got 2 left, y'all. Been a quick and fun list. And going to one of the tracks I know, one of their biggest hits. We have Summer in the City. Evan David said, like I mentioned back at the beginning, it was hearing this cracking tune from hums of the Lovin Spoonful on British TV that first hooked me on their good time music in the first place. And it's still one of my all-time favorites to this day, a sentiment which was clearly shared by the record-buying public back in '66 as the single reached number 1 in the US and 8 in the UK.
It's a far wilder piece of pure rock and roll than is the case with many of the previous tunes on this top 10, while at the same time also amply sharing in the overwhelming sense of joyous affection and warmth that both befits its title and pretty much sums up the Spoonful's entire career to boot. To put it simply, I really, really love this tune, and I hope you guys do too. Watch out for the traffic noises, though.
All right, Summer in the City. You know, familiar with this tune? Not like overly familiar with it, though, man. But dude, no wonder it went to 1. It's just such a class tune right there.
Yeah,
man.
and definitely a little bit more of a serious tone to them, but it still keeps a lot of their musical DNA in it. You know, and basically the summary of it is hot in the daytime. You know, it's a hot town, summer in the city, but at night, it's a little different story. The nightlife comes into play. So
no, yeah, that whole concept of coming you know, trailing off of Boredom, where you know now we're getting kind of lively at night.
Exactly.
And I like the cadence John uses in the summer. In the city,
I do too.
It just it sticks in your head very well, and you know, adding what you know the keys kind of in there, you know, and that bridge you had kind of those building that city atmosphere and ambiance as well with the traffic and whatnot going around, just kind of building some life in the sound of this track, man, and I quite enjoyed it.
Me too, and I did see on the side here on Genius. Now I didn't come across this in my research, but I mean it isn't so, but it says it's written by John and his brother Mark, who is credited as one of the songwriters, as a high school assignment for which they received an F. So I need to dig into that a little deeper because that's crazy. But yeah, fantastic tune.
That's wild, man. Come on, don't be
come
giving
on, Teach, man. What are you doing?
F right there. Come on. But now, man, we're up to number 1 on the list, and I know you were saying that we're gonna have a video, and that we are, man. Could there be another number 1 besides Do You Believe in Magic?
Yeah, and Evan David says this beautiful, happy song was inspired by the steady shift to a younger, more vibrant audience that first took place at the Night Owl Cafe when people came to see and hear the Lovin Spoonful play, and as such holds a special place in both the history of the Spoonful in general, being both the title track of their first album in 1965, as well as their first single, as was described before, and indeed in my own personal music history to boot, as not only does it always put a beaming smile on my face, but it was the first song that I ever requested as part of an RTTC listening live stream party way back when. Those are Friday nights at 5 o'clock. Now with this top 10 events have indeed come full circle, and I can think of no groovy tune that better deserves the number 1 spot, or that can better sum up the sheer overwhelming warmth and joy that I've always found both from listening to the Spoonful and from being involved with RTTC.
Hey,
thank you.
Thank you, Evan. So to sum up, if you guys and the rest of the people watching this felt even a fraction of that joy today, then my job here is done. Or as the song itself puts, it's magic when the music is groovy and makes you feel happy like an old-time movie. I tell you about the magic and free your soul, but it's like trying to tell a stranger about rock and roll. I love that, man. And let's face it, there's no one better at doing that than the chaps and chapses involved with RTTC, man. See, we didn't even have to pay Evan to write that about us, man.
No, and we're going to watch something from the classic Ed Sullivan Show. So let's, and he says, we'll see Sebastian's aforementioned auto harp look like in real life. Let's do this.
All right. Do you believe in magic? Man, what a way to end off this list. I thought that was a awesome performance, man, and really kind of innovative, too, with the switches in the set.
I was going to say, people were probably blown away a little bit by that, you know, and I know that they were probably lip-syncing that as really basically, I think everything on Ed Sullivan was done, but in real life, in like real concerts, to play that auto harp right up here and be able to sing at the same time was I've never seen such a thing. So yeah, just a fantastic song.
Sebastian going in, man, and you know I like it because you look at him and you wouldn't expect him to be
that's what I thought too.
You know a music star type of deal, but man, he was out there, he was killing it. It was cool to see Zal put in the work on that neat looking guitar as well, man. And this has got to be an all timer, just like feel good song,
I agree.
Man. it takes you back, even though you didn't live through the 60s era, just that feel good, you know, happy-go-lucky time. And it's only 2 minutes, so it's very concise to the point, and you know, just puts you in a good mood, man. So I think it's a deserving #1, to say the least.
I agree with you. I don't have much more to add to it, man. Now we come to our, we got honorable mentions here, Trey. Let me put these in there just in case some of you Lovin Spoonful fans are wondering where these were at. Honorable mention: Only Pretty, What a Pity, Good Time Music, Younger Girl, Coconut Grove, Nashville Cats, She Is Still a Mystery, Fish and Blues, Alley-Oop, Didn't Want to Have to Do It, and You're a Big Boy Now. So those are all the honorable mentions that probably would have made up his top 20, as he mentioned.
Dude,
so
that's right.
Now we're on to our favorite tracks, Trey. For me, obviously, I got to go with "Do You Believe in Magic."
It's got to be one of mine too.
"Summer in the City." I know it's you know, cliched, but whew, that last one is going to be tough. Maybe I'm going to go with "Younger Generation."
No, man, I'm going to say all those three. I also got to give a shout out to and cheat a little and also say "Darling" on "Be Home Soon." I thought
that's a good one too.
that was the longest tune on the list. Had that more mature type of sound. But in these 10 songs, we saw everything from serious by the numbers kind of rock tunes to obviously some country inspired stuff, folk inspired. Putting in the humor in there as well. So a little bit of everything in just with a lot of these groups in the 60s. Packed so many albums and whatnot in just a few years. All in all, man, really impressed by John Sebastian's unique voice and also impressed by Zal's guitar playing throughout here as well.
Agreed.
And just an easy listening experience.
Yeah, great
right
debut
here,
for a list by Evan David. You really set the bar high, man. Wonderful job.
Oh, for sure, man. And let us know y'all's favorite Lovin Spoonful tunes down in the comment section below, and be sure to give Evan David some love as well. And I guess that'll kind of wrap it up from here today, man. So thanks y'all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button and give it a big thumbs up. But until next time, y'all, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.